Not a huge surprise that Wall Street isn't a huge fan of wokeness, but now they're really putting money behind that issue.
Yeah, this think tank is one that's been around for quite a while. It's called the Manhattan Institute, but under Paul Singer, who became chairman in 2008, and more recently under the stewardship of President Reihan Salam, it's gotten a lot more influence. And they've really focused on this idea of wokeness, color blindness, anti-racialism, and that has really come about in things like anti-DEI, proposals about how gender is going to be treated in schools, but also advocating for the elimination of subsidies for EVs, solar and wind power.
Gender in schools? You mean gender affirmation in schools, right? Which is a slightly different issue.
How gender is going to be treated in schools. And they've come up with a lot of model legislation. And what they do is they send it out to lawmakers, especially Republican lawmakers, and especially on DEI, but it's getting attention on other subjects too. Sometimes these lawmakers are passing these rules literally word for word, citing this model legislation. In fact, Manhattan Institute claims that 11 states have passed its anti-DEI legislation in terms of universities. And so that kind of speaks to the amount of influence it's having, and it's trying to use this influence to gain some leverage in a Trump administration.
But they've also been kind of activated, triggered, if you will, by the rise in anti-Semitism that we've seen, right?
Absolutely. That is a key piece of it. And what they say, and they're among several voices here, is the idea that DEI on campus and this communist-inspired ideology, left-wing ideology on campus, has really turned into anti-Semitism on campus. Now, that's not an opinion everybody shares, certainly.
You don't think that that's a fact, that you've seen a rise in anti-Semitism on campuses?
Well, certainly there's been a rise in anti-Semitism on campus, but not everyone believes that pro-Palestinian protests are anti-Semitic. They tend to believe they are. There are others who sort of take a different view on that and say, no, they're just campaigning for the rights of Palestinians. That said, certainly that what's happened on campus in the last year has played into some of the interest in the Manhattan Institute. They had a record fundraising at their most recent gala, $4.6 million in one night alone. And that, of course, contributing to that overall about close to $200 million that the Institute has raised for furtherance of its ideas in the last decade.
Well, the story is really well done. I recommend that everyone with a Bloomberg check it out. And indeed, even if you don't have a Bloomberg, you can see it on Bloomberg.com or in Business Week.
Not in Business Week.
Well, it should be in Business Week, Simone.
All over the internet.